Hello and welcome to Midwest Writers Room. Our mission is to encourage, educate, and celebrate writers of the Midwest. I'm Luella Schmidt.
And I'm Ken Humphrey. This chapter break episode features Jeannee Sacken and her latest publication, The Women Who Stand Between, which comes out on September 16th, 2025.
Described by Milwaukee Lifestyle Magazine as Indiana Jones with a camera, Jeannee Sacken is a photojournalist who travels to the ends of the earth documenting the lives of women and children. She also photographs wildlife and is deeply committed to the conservation of endangered species. Jeannee has fictionalized many of her experiences while on assignment in her multiple award winning Annie Hawkins series.
So I think as part of this episode, we're probably going to give Jeannee a Indiana Jones hat as a parting gift from here, because that would just complete the picture. But
Okay.
let's take a look at The Women Who Stand Between. Julia Wilde is one of the best cinematographers in the business. While on location in Southern Africa, she is unfairly blamed for an accident that leaves several crew members dead. Blacklisted by Hollywood, she takes a job in the film department at a Midwestern university, only to discover that the tenure depends on her making a movie. Well, with several filmmaking friends in tow, Julia heads to Zimbabwe to make a documentary about the Mambas, a fierce all-female anti-poaching unit who risk their lives to protect endangered species. But as Julia soon learns, being behind the lens is no protection from poachers who are determined to keep this movie from seeing the light of day.
Oof, we are excited to talk about this one. Jeannee, welcome to Midwest Writers Room. How are you doing today?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
You bet.
Oh, we're excited to have you, excited to talk about this. So, just from that synopsis, like the all female anti poaching unit, that just reminds me of the Wakandan female guard, right?
Yeah,
From Marvel movies. Yes, I'm going
yeah.
to picture them as an image throughout this. So, that's perfect. So, let's,
Could I just say
yes.
that the Mambas are fictional in my book, but there really are black mambas, not the snake, but a fierce all-female anti-poaching unit that work in various national parks in Zimbabwe and Southern Africa. Some of them are armed with AR-15s. Some of them are unarmed, and they go out and track poachers and risk their lives every day to protect endangered species. And they're my heroes. They're just incredibly brave women. And there's also a male force in Hwange National Park. They're called the Cobras. And um, I worked with them on this book, and they have now opened a women's branch of the Cobras called the Cheetahs. So I'm very excited about that.
All right, so can I just take an aside for a second and say one of the coolest things in like fictional readings is when these elite units of whatever, right, militaristic, otherwise, just have really cool names, like the Black Mambas, right? Isn't that just a vicious name, right? It strikes fear, and I think like it's a little underreported how much of an effect a cool name can have on a mission of a
Mhm.
unit. So, as long as you open it up, Jeannee, let's talk about this. What led you to actually develop this story? How did it come about?
It goes back 27 years. I was on my first photo assignment in Zimbabwe. It was my first time in Zimbabwe, my first time in Africa, and my first photo shoot. I got there a couple days early and I met with, wait for it, a sangoma, which is Ndebele for a healer or a seer. And it was a very Twilight Zone-ish moment that I had with him. I didn't tell him anything about myself, but we sat down on the floor of his hut and he threw the bones for me. The seers in Ndebele land have four bones. They're about this big, this wide, and they're elaborately carved. And he put them in my hand. I hold them in my hand. He says, "Now think of your problem." Like, I don't have a problem. I'm a university professor. I'm living my life, my dream. So I give the bones back. He throws them on the mat between us and says, "You did not concentrate on your problem. Do it again." So I do it again, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Should I continue teaching? Should I? And we throw the bones, and he says to me, not knowing anything about me other than I can't concentrate on my problem, he says, "You're an English teacher." And I said, "Well, yeah." And he said, "But you have other stories to tell with your pictures, and you write stories, don't you?" And I was like, "Oh, this is too much." I said, "Well, yeah, I do." He said, "You have to think about what will make you the happiest, continuing to teach or writing." And we went on from there. But when I left there, other than being completely spooked, I said, I have to write. And in fact, a year and a half later, I had resigned my tenure and started working as a photojournalist and writing. And I said, I am going to use this sangoma in a story. And so I wrote a short novella. There was no market for short novellas. Years go by, and I write it as a young adult novel, which is a whole other story I'll tell you in a minute. And I ended up going back many, many times to Zimbabwe and writing it as suspenseful women's fiction. And finally, that was the story that had to be told. Unfortunately, it took a lot of different pathways to get there.
It's really
Um,
amazing how much work it sometimes takes to get our piece out into the world. That story gave me some goosebumps, by the way.
you know, it's sometimes a matter of finding the right format, the right genre, the right pathway. And my other novels, some of them took that similar pathway. This one was long.
So being, cosplaying as Indiana Jones out there, lady with a camera and that, and your fedora, you had to have come across certain situations that put you on edge. I would guess wildlife type situations. Care to share anything with us?
Um, well, I I do have a story, and it was from that same trip. And it was after that photo shoot we had finished, and my husband and I decided to take a canoe safari up the Zambezi River, which is the river that is between Zambia and Zimbabwe, two landlocked countries in southern Africa. And this was not a gentle float. The Zambezi is a mighty river that runs for thousands of miles. And for 5 days, we are dodging hippos that are zooming beneath our canoe. Do not believe anyone who tells you hippos can't swim. These guys were swimming and zooming. And there were also 5-meter crocs that would lift their head. And as we would pass by, they would slither off their rock in the middle of the river down underneath our canoes. And what hippos and crocs like to do is when they see canoes, they like to raise up and tip you over, all the better to eat you. Anyway, and we knew this. So our last day, we were supposed to get off river at in time for a late lunch. But every time we came upon a likely exit spot, um, there would be a giant bull elephant or a whole group, a siege of hippos saying, "Not here, no, you don't." And our guide, Rod, would just wave us on. But I can attest that after you have been on river for all these hours, you need to pee. And my situation was getting dire. This went on for hours, and finally the sun is sinking over the tops of the trees, and we're getting set for another beautiful Zambezi sunset. But we have no choice to get off river at this point, because you do not want to be canoeing on the Zambezi after dark with all those hippos and crocs and not being able to see anything. So we finally, on the Zambian side, we see a little stream off to the side, and Rod says, come on, we're going up this stream. We have to get off river. So we follow him. And he's taking it slowly. He's saying, it's not a race. Let's enjoy our last few minutes on river. But I had to pee badly. And I was desperate at this point. So I'm trying to sit still and not disturb my bladder when suddenly a giant hippo raises up next to me right out of the water, like 2 feet away from me. And he's got lilies draped over his head, and he is roaring. I mean, for all it's worth. And I am just trying to keep it in. And Rod takes his paddle and smacks it on the water. And if you've ever smacked a canoe paddle on the water, it sounds like a gunshot. So the hippo goes right down. Sorry, won't disturb you. We go on another 50 feet. We beach our canoes, and there opposite us on the other side of this fairly narrow stream is a huge herd of Cape buffalo. They look docile. They are not. They are one of the most dangerous animals in South Africa, in Africa. So Rod is securing the canoes, and I'm begging for a safe place to relieve myself. In guide speak, a scenic view. So if you ever hear a guide say, I need a scenic view, that's what he's saying. So Rod glances around, and he points to a group of acacia trees and says, right over there, you should be fine. But be careful of the thorns. They can be quite vicious. Duly noted. So I duck behind the bushes, and as soon as I'm behind them and out of view, my khaki safari pants are down around my ankles. I squat, and midstream, I hear the sound of chuffing. And I look up, and there, maybe 20 feet away from me, are 6 full-grown female lions, sprawled on their sides, and they're just watching me intently. I do notice that their bellies are really distended, and so I figure, buffalo, lions, they've just had lunch. They've eaten a buffalo. But they were pretty interested in dessert, and that was going to be me.
Can I just
So
suggest that maybe we shouldn't say, I want a scenic view, because look what that got you.
yeah. So one of the lions sits up. This was not a good sign. And then from somewhere behind me, I hear the Jeep start, and I hear it sort of rumbling toward me. And then I hear Rod's voice in his Zimbo accent. Do stand up, please. Make yourself as big as possible. So and slowly, don't rush anything. I'm like, there are 6 lions here. What do you mean, don't rush? So I stand up, and I had a safari shirt on. So I bring my arms up, and I'm trying to stand up and keep my eyes on the 6 lions, but not look at them directly, because that's seen as aggression on my part. And so then he says, okay, now back up slowly, slowly. Slowly. Okay, no problem. My pants are around my ankles. So I inch backwards, baby steps, and one of the lions stands up and takes a step. And just at that moment, I feel 2 sets of hands under my arms lifting me into the Jeep. And then all the lions stand up and come to visit.
Okay.
Does that work?
This is the most dangerous urinary story we've ever hosted, Luella. That's kind of crazy. I do remember reading somewhere the first time I read it, and kind of astonished that hippos are responsible for more deaths than what you would think, crocodiles or lions over there, because they are very vicious and very territorial. So
yes,
sure, that hippo put on his wig to try and kind of fool you to say, maybe she won't think I'm so dangerous, but let me check her boundaries.
they have these huge tusk teeth, and they just snap you in half.
Oh, what a story.
Yeah, it's going to be like top five story. Well, I don't know. Whoever comes after this on the next chapter break, they've got their work cut out for them to
Yes, they
top
do.
a danger story. Wow. All right. Shall we move on
The
to the
real
reading?
problem is I have many more.
Oh, I can
Well, hey, that's
imagine.
not, I mean, you chose
Jenna.
to be a photojournalist, right? And a writer. So I think you maybe love it.
I do. I do. And the best part is you come back to tell another story.
That's right. Yeah, that is the best. All right. Are we ready for the reading?
I
Can
think
I
so.
tell one other story?
Yes. But what before you start that, like your pants are down around your ankles this whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. Just double checking that little fact detail.
Yeah, that was not my finest hour, I have to say.
Well,
Although
and
facing
who
down a pride of
cares?
lions and living to tell
Well,
about it
yes,
was pretty good. Yeah.
the pride was all with the lions in that moment. But I'm bummed. All right. So,
I want to
I'm
talk
sorry, did you
about
want to tell another story?
I just want to talk about the challenges I had getting this book to press. Um, it was at some point in its life a YA novel. And I had the great good fortune to query this novel and to be able to sign with my dream agent, who was one of the top children's agents, one of the top YA agents in the country. And it was a dream come true. And she said, this book is going to go to auction. And since she knew what she was doing, I believed her. It didn't go to auction. It didn't sell at all. And fast forward, so that was in 2010. In 2015 was Christmas Eve, and I had a house full of guests. And for some reason, I said, let me just check my email, then put the computer to bed. So I did, and there was a letter from my agent, and it wasn't happy holiday greetings. She said, I quote, I showed your manuscript to the other agents in the company, and we agree that we don't think you're a YA writer. We think you should write suspenseful women's fiction. Try reading Pam Jenoff. And don't respond to me right away because as soon as I hit send, I'm off on vacation for 3 weeks. Have a Merry Christmas. Um, what do you do with that? I was so hurt, but my agent was wise, and I knew that. So I took a month or two and read everything Pam Jenoff had written. And then I sat down and wrote the Annie Hawkins series.
So,
And
Jeannee, can I just say, this is such a beautiful story of like resilience. And that is what writers need. Like, we are constantly getting rejected and constantly getting our hearts broken. And for you to sort of be able to rise above this and take your agent's advice is really something. I mean, well done.
well, it was hard.
Yeah,
It,
I bet.
it was hard, but if you want to write, sometimes you have to go in the direction the horse is taking you.
Yes.
I mean, she essentially said, I'm going to kick you back to square one, start over. I mean, that
Yeah.
was essentially the gist of her message. Do some research and start over. And yeah, that can be hard to hear and especially hard to
And bye
overcome.
bye.
Yeah.
And she was right. I mean, I had been trying to cram a book that was called Talking Bones into a YA, and then I wrote the Annie Hawkins series, and I came back to Talking Bones sitting on my shelf and turned it into The Women Who Stand Between. The only carryovers, and that was hard, writing a new book in a new format and a new genre when I basically wanted to tell a similar story and not crib from it. I did take my son Goma, my healer and prophet, and his son Tantarai. and moved them into the new book, but into the women who stand between. But everything else is new and original.
All right. I had to mute myself because there's a truck going by. Sorry. Thank you, Jeannee. So we're going to turn to the reading now. So before you start, maybe orient our listeners and viewers so they know where in the book you're beginning, and take it away when you're ready.
I'm beginning at the beginning. More animals. Chapter 1, Zimbabwe, early August 2017. The lions arrive at the waterhole late in the afternoon, the moment the western sky blazes red with the setting African sun. There are 5 of them, all males, possibly brothers. From where I'm standing on top of the steel shipping container partially buried in the Kalahari sand, they look to be fairly young, their golden manes still just fringes around their heads. I'm guessing they've only recently been kicked out of their natal pride and sent off to fend for themselves until they're strong enough to take over a pride of their own. The heat of the dry season has left them thirsty. From the looks of their sunken flanks, they're probably also hungry, very hungry. A go-away bird screeches its warning to the rest of the animals. The zebras, their black and white striped coats glimmering in the rosy light, paw the sand into clouds of dust to conceal their retreat. Already skittish, the large kudu backs away from the water's edge. He ducks his whorled horns, then sprints into the nearby mopane bushes, his harem in close pursuit. I look at the 50-some elephants knee-deep in the water. Mothers trumpet to their frolicking calves, gathering them close and draping their trunks across the babies' backs. Safe for now. But hungry lions can wait them out. There's no way the cats will just have a drink and leave. The prospects for a meal are too good. Completely exposed, I wonder if maybe my crew and I should retreat down inside the hide. Next to me, his legs dangling over the edge, our intrepid guide Tandurai doesn't seem at all worried. He can read animals better than anyone I've ever worked with. Of course, he's also got a .375 Winchester hunting rifle, a gun that packs a wallop of a kick and can bring down an elephant with a single shot. He's also got a belt of seriously big cartridges buckled around his waist. Unlike me, I'm operating cine camera number 1 and am positioned directly in front of the water, the best possible place to record this segment of the great elephant migration across Zimbabwe's Hwange National Park. The lions finish drinking and lift their heads, eyeing the ellies. One by one, they push themselves to their feet and amble casually along the edge of the water until there are lions stationed equidistant all the way around the waterhole and around the elephants. I zoom in on a couple of the lions until I can see their muscles tensing. They mean business. Their strategy is obvious. With no hope of bringing down one of the mothers, they're aiming to create enough fear so the elephants will eventually charge out of the water. In the resulting chaos, they'll pick off a youngster. Trapped, the elephants watch. Besides an occasional flap of the ears, they seem calm, deceptively calm. I'm shifting my focus to the elephant who looks to be the matriarch when, in the blink of an eye, she lifts her trunk and bellows. The mothers splash their enormous gray bodies through the water, forming a protective ring around the youngsters. Another trumpeting bellow, this one much louder than the matriarch's and a lot closer. I ease the camera around and focus on the huge bull Ellie, just now rounding the front corner of the hide, maybe 15 feet from where I'm standing. His enormous tusks reach nearly to the ground, a super tusker. There's a bit of a swagger to his step, and now he's raising his trunk high above his head, all the better to sniff out the tense situation in front of him. And of course, the humans atop the hide. Trailing behind him, three other large males. Put them together, and they probably weigh close to 50,000 pounds. I spot the telltale hormonal secretions running down the lead elephant's temple. This guy's in must, which means he's got 60 times the normal level of testosterone coursing through him, making him totally unpredictable. Not to mention ready to go on a rampage at a moment's notice. From the corner of my eye, I see Tandarai scramble to his feet and clasp his rifle, poised to lift it into position and fire. Probably just a warning shot. The last thing any of us wants to do is kill an elephant. The Ellie stops right in front of me. Before I have a chance to react, to maybe dive to the roof of the shipping container, he swings his head toward us. As his trunk arcs over my camera, I absolutely freeze, which is exactly the wrong thing to do.
Man, that was really lovely. What a beautiful atmosphere you've created right off the bat. I want to follow this photojournalist immediately.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't get enough of the natural world. The elephants. Elephants are so beautiful and so just astounding.
Elephants are amazing, and thank you for that segue. They are in serious danger of being poached. Even though poaching ivory is illegal, it is still a very vibrant black market. Elephant tusks, good ivory, goes for about $1,500 a pound. And if you consider that a single big tusk weighs 75 to 150 pounds each, there's money in them. And it's international cartels that run these poaching organizations, and the people on the ground doing it are poor villagers who often get paid pennies or nothing at all, but are desperate to feed their families. So it's a complex, very complicated situation. And Zimbabweans, especially Black Zimbabweans, get blamed for it. And all they're trying to do is to feed their families. The unemployment rate in Zimbabwe is close to 90%.
Hmm.
And so it's a complicated situation. But elephants are magic. They are amazing. And to spend time with them, as I did on the Great Elephant Migration, where it was 35,000 elephants and me going across Hwanghae National Park, is one of the most special moments of my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. Or I can't even imagine the other. So tell our listeners and viewers where they can find you, more about your books.
Well, I will be at Boswell Books on Friday, September 19th at 6:30 with the incomparable Jennifer Rupp. We'll be in
Oh, yay!
conversation.
Say hi
There
to
will
Jennifer
be
for us.
animal cookies. And if you buy a copy of The Women Who Stand Between, you will get a free bonus book, Depth of Field, which is a novella epilogue to the Annie Hawkins series.
Show us that cover one more time.
Which cover?
Well, your book. Either one. I was referring to the new one, The Women Who Stand Between. It's really a pretty cover. Thank you.
Yeah, they did it amazingly. It's all different layers. I think it's like 7 different layers so that you can get the background coming through the lettering of the title. I think the people at Orange Hat Publishing did a magnificent job.
It sure
Can I
looks
give
like
a
it.
shout out to Kaylee Duntman and to Dana Brunig, who were the 2 cover designers? I think they outdid themselves.
Perfect.
So I'll be at
And you're,
Boswell Books,
yeah.
and then on Saturday, October 11th, I'll be at Blue House Books. And then I'm really excited. I'm going to be a part of Gallery Night and Day on October 17th and 18th in Milwaukee. I'll be at the Village Church. And then I'm doing a safari slideshow of images from recent photo shoots at Shorewood Public Library on October 23rd.
Mm. Boy,
Uh,
those events sound fun.
I
And
have galleries of images on my website, which is my name, JeanneeSacken.com. And I am on Facebook, same name, and Instagram, author Jeannee Sacken.
All
perfect.
right.
We'll
And we'll
make
list
sure
all
we put
those.
that in the show notes.
Yep, we will list all those in the show notes. So at this time, I want to thank Jeannee for coming on and introducing everybody to the women who stand between. To everyone out there, thanks for hanging out with us in the Midwest Writers Room. I'm Ken Humphrey.
And I'm Luella Schmidt. Words ignite imaginations and spark change. Never underestimate the power of storytelling.
Midwest Writers Room is a production of the Wisconsin Writers Association. Writing and editing by Luella Schmidt and Ken Humphrey. Sound design and editing by Ken Humphrey. Music for the Midwest Writers Room was written by Michael Ramirez C. For more information, please visit wiwrite.org/podcast. Thank you.